Hello, lovelies, and welcome. I'm Colette Case, dog expert, opinion haver, and your host for All Dog, the show that brings you nothing but the best in global dog news. In today's episode, we've got two Akitas who are now running a Japanese airport. Dogs with more air miles and probably better wardrobes than I have. Korea has launched a flight where dogs don't just travel, they sit down and have snacks. And Adidas has released a fashion line for pets because apparently dog tracksuits are a vibe right now. A couple of lucky dogs are taking their people around the world in a canine case of planes, trains, automobiles, and tuk-tuks. Yes, tuk-tuks. And a Carnival cruise ship ditches the buffet. Well, they didn't really ditch it, but anyway, they rescued 4 people and 3 dogs from the ocean. So let's get stuck in. In Japan, 2 Akita siblings, Rensui and Tsukika, have just been appointed as airport directors. Yes, actual directors. Because frankly, if I'm going to suffer a long-haul flight with a man sitting next to me eating an egg sandwich with his mouth open, drooling, I at least want to be welcomed at the gate by a majestic, fluffy dog in uniform. These 2 3-year-old icons were officially appointed at a lawn ceremony outside Odate Norshiro Airport. Yes, they had a ceremony where they received staff uniform style scarves. Very spiffy. And look, I don't know how good they are at logistics, but hey, if my emotional support animal is also the airport director, I'm probably fine with the turbulence and the perks. American Suki, who frankly sounds like a man I'd trust my life with, and my Netflix password, he says he hopes they'll bring warmth and excitement to the airport. I say, give them their own terminal and their own runway. Honestly, dogs in charge of airports, they'd never lose your luggage. They might sniff your crotch, though. Actually, that sounds a lot less intrusive than a pat down by the TSA. Has that ever happened to you? Not nice. Now to globe-trotting dogs who've traveled more than most of us and probably have better Instagram content too. First up, William, a former corporate tech bro who threw his career in the bin, it seems. He adopted a little Jack Russell cross called Elko and started traveling the world with him. Together, they've hit 28 countries. That's not a holiday. That's a bloody documentary waiting to be made. Anyway, they've done France, Turkey, Thailand, Mexico, Slovenia, Finland, which is just impressive because honestly, how many of us have actually been to Finland? It seems Elko's more cultured than I am. And hey, I once attended a wine tasting in Croydon. Now, let's talk about Heike, a 53-year-old woman from Germany who allegedly claimed to hate dogs. But you know, when one's staring at you with those big sad eyes covered in fleas and your heart says, "You're my son now," that's when you really know. She found Butch, an Australian cattle dog in Mexico. She was on a global cycle trip, and since then they've traveled by bike, canoe, motorbike, and by tuk-tuk. Dogs crossing continents on tuk-tuk. And here I am sitting at home on my sofa trying to get my dog to scooch over. Heike, William, Elko, and Butch, you are the inspiration we didn't know we needed. So excuse me while I go Google international dog passports, plot my escape. Time to talk fashion, because why should your dog suffer the indignity of wearing some off-brand collar when you're out there rocking your designer Hanes Y fronts? That's right, Adidas Originals have dropped a lifestyle line for pets. very exciting. We're talking cowhide leather collars, trefoil rivets, see-through tote bags with peeky holes. Yes, peeky holes. And even classic Cali t-shirts for dogs. Because when you're power walking your cockapoo through Shoreditch, you need people to know that you are both into ironic sportswear. This line has launched in Shanghai first because, of course it has. And no word yet on the global drop, but if you're wondering whether I will queue online at 3 a.m. for a dog tracksuit, yes, I will. Because frankly, if I'm going to have a midlife crisis, my dog looking like a Slavic rapper is going to be an essential part of it. Now, let's get back to talking about dogs on planes without the prison box of despair. After our segment last week about Italy no longer requiring large dogs to fly in cargo, we have some more mile-high news, this time from Korea. In Korea, airlines are treating dogs like the passengers they are. Jeju Air launched a pet-only flight. No carrier required. That's right. Your dog gets a seat, a snack, a boarding pass, and presumably better service than we usually get on Ryanair. Sorry, Ryanair. Do better. Tawai Air even puts the dog's name on the ticket. Imagine that. Chad and Bruno. Come to gate 3 to board, please. Your puppuccino awaits. Pet owners can now earn frequent flyer miles. And yeah, if your dog flies enough, they can get a free ticket, which is more than I've ever managed to get with my own points. I've got enough for a bottle of water and a sigh. There's even a class at the airport on how to help anxious pets during travel. It's run by a vet. Yeah, this is how far we've come. Dogs are getting in-flight mental health support. Meanwhile, I'm still having a panic attack over that bag of mini pretzels that I can't get open 3 years later. But fair warning, not all airlines are ready for your emotional support tarantula. So check the policy before you rock up with a ferret in a hoodie. Finally, we have a story about dogs surviving a holiday disaster, which should be the name of a new TLC reality show if you ask me. 3 brave pups were rescued from a stranded catamaran in the South Pacific by a Carnival cruise ship. Yes, dogs on a yacht in a storm. Sounds so scary. The Carnival Splendor diverted its 3,300 passenger pleasure palace to save 4 humans and 3 dogs after their boat got demasted. Their engines failed, and their only working system was panic. The Carnival Splendor took them all on board, gave them food, water, medical care, and, it seems, a spontaneous luxury cruise. To be honest, the dogs handled it better than most influencers. On day 2, Coachella, they didn't even complain or take pictures of the buffet and post it on their social. No. So let's all raise a metaphorical cocktail to the captain of Splendor. Cheers, who diverted a floating Vegas hotel to rescue some soggy sea dogs and their people, and still stayed on schedule. Breaking news. Another dog-related transportation drama, this time in the sky. Yes, a Delta Airlines flight from Detroit to LA was forced to make an emergency landing in Minneapolis because a dog in the cabin got sick. And before you ask, not like nervous nausea, no. We are talking full-blown, call the vet, divert the plane kind of sick. Luckily, there was a veterinarian on board, proving once again that dogs are just better than people at most things, even manifesting in-flight medical professionals. I collapse mid-flight, and it's like, is there a doctor on board? Hello? Help? A dog gets a tummy ache, and Suddenly it's grey anatomy in the aisle. And no one seems to judge a dog when they puke outside of the bag. I'm not saying I've done that, but The pilot and the vet decided it was too risky to keep flying, so they made an emergency landing, delaying 181 passengers by over 2 hours. And honestly, it was well worth it because unlike most in-flight emergencies, this one ended with a dog feeling better. And not a single fucking person had to be duct taped to their seat. Now that is a good ending. If this made you chuckle, snort, or tell your dog, see, you are better than humans, hit like, subscribe, help us hit 1 million subscribers, we're nearly there. Well, kind of. And share it with a friend, maybe someone who needs a tail wag in their inbox. Check out our other episodes. And until next time, Old Dog out.